31 is the newest Rob Zombie film that came out this week and got actually a very, very limited release. Now, for those who don't know, a little backstory. Rob Zombie, of course, has been doing films since the 2003 with House of Thousand Corpses, and then he also did Devil's Rejects.
Then he got lucky and got a mainstream film, Halloween.
With Halloween, the remake, and then also he did Halloween 2, and then Lords of Salem. And I am very hit and miss with Rob Zombie. Like, there are movies that I do like from him, and movies that are just like, they're okay, but then there's some that was like, could have been a lot better.
Yeah. See, like, I'm a big, I grew up with White Zombie and Rob Zombie.
I did too.
Yeah.
I've been
grew
a
up
big
with
fan
the
of the music.
and it was cool seeing that he started off with like low budgety gore films, and I think that's his criteria. I wouldn't want to see him do anything else really. I think that's his best bet.
Yeah, it's cool that he at least started out doing a lot of his music, because if you watch a lot of his music videos from like the 90s and stuff, you can tell that with his movies that he's done recently, he is taking that same style by doing like a lot of dark and gothic kind of shit. So I really do feel like as a filmmaker, he can. There is a chance he can still make a great movie.
Yeah,
with that
with
style.
House of Thousand Corpses, gory stuff. I wish that they had potential. They could have done more. With Devil's Rejects, phenomenal film.
Yeah,
I
phenomenal.
did enjoy that.
Very great.
Yeah,
very one of the best movies I ever saw. It's like, it's really up there as far as a cult following, because this is the film that really made him into like a lot of mainstream attention.
This one you're probably gonna fucking rip my asshole on. I don't care. What he did with Halloween was amazing. It blew me the fuck away what he did.
Yeah, I really do love his remake of Halloween. Now, the first half I agree is better, but
the second half I agree that he did shot for shot, kind of, and then it went back to his own theme. I can give you that 15 minutes of the second half that he did kind of do shot for shot, but still, what he did with that
film was he changed so much of what was about Halloween, but in a good way.
Yeah.
For better or worse, he at least did something different.
Now, Halloween 2, I can agree with a lot of people on this film. It underachieved.
It's a very underwhelming film. It's not bad. It's just something not up to par with with his first film.
Now, his worst film to me to date is Lords of Salem.
Yeah.
Talk about a very painful. Yet he brings up in his questionnaire at the end of the film that he does feel like he did underachieve in that film, which he did, because he captures the witches really well. But other than that
visually, it's one of the most like gorgeous and very
gorgeous,
brutal.
It's like a gothic,
really cool look that he has for like his music videos. But that film, it was an art film. It was an art film he was trying to do that didn't work because it was so full of itself and had no merit at all.
It didn't. It didn't like point out what it was trying to do. I mean, it's beautiful, like he said. It feels like a Rob Zombie. Yes,
it actually
the witches.
In a way, it's Rob Zombie's way of doing a Stanley Kubrick film.
Yes. And he does get that. I do see what he's trying to do with the whole gothic art. I like that. I do like the witches. The witches are pretty creepy, which is disappointing because he captures the witches so perfect. But the movie, literally, the art doesn't make no sense. The movie doesn't make no sense. And, man, the movie was kind of boring to me.
Yeah, it was very padded out for a lot of shit that made no sense. And so, after that film, I was pretty much like, man, this is like the nail in the coffin. Like, it's my least favorite of his.
And we think that he's going down.
We thought he was going, Now, with this one, I didn't really know much about with 31 because we got a trailer for it. Because what happened was this film actually got backed up by crowd services because his fans actually helped make the film for him.
True, but let's get a little history note. We get like a small plot where we're getting rumors where he was doing the Blob reboot.
Yeah.
And then that fell through. And then he was also supposedly going to do a prequel to House of Thousand Corpses and continue on the story building up with Otis and how he met the group. Because Otis is not part of the family.
Right.
So, but that's something that's going to be probably later date. Not going into detail because he doesn't know if he's going to do it or if that was what he was going to try to do. It fell through. So he thought about doing Project 31.
Yeah, and so now this one was a very special experience for us because we got to check it out in our theater, which was very limited because it was a one-night showing Fathom event at a 7 p.m. And this is the only showing we ever got a chance to watch. This film also suffered through a lot of butchering from the MPAA because Rob Zombie fought to try to get NC-17, but the MPAA had an argument back and forth. So in order for him to get in theaters, they had to sadly go R rating.
MPAA needs to understand that we need to change how we do films. I think NC-17, I think should get movies.
It should,
Just get stricter on the ID if you care, but I really think it's bullshit. MPAA will not allow at all certain things, material, let alone this movie is only getting a one-day showing, so very limited. One-day showing, you couldn't give us one faith of doing it.
That's what I'm saying. But the experience that we had, because this was a pretty packed theater when we went, they had this special. They had these really cool 2 music videos that were by Rob Zombie
that he did for the film. Which, if I heard controversial, that didn't go.
That some of these theaters didn't actually get those, which pissed Rob Zombie off.
Yeah.
And also there was a Q&A session they had after the film ended where he was talking about his history of filmmaking and kind of going
what he liked,
details.
what he thought he which he didn't do, which Lord of Salem was one of his disappointment projects, but overall that was another thing that didn't get placed in theaters in some of these theaters.
Yeah.
They didn't do his music videos. They left both of them out and just did the standard movie, which pissed him off. He specifically said, I want every theater that takes my movie to do both the music videos at the beginning and do the questionnaires at the end.
Yeah, so, but that experience that we had going for it was really great, especially since we don't usually get to see stuff like that. So, anyway, pretty much the plot goes, you have these, they're pretty much carnies. You have these group of people that are going on the road. Well, first it opens with like this really cool shot, like almost a one take where you get the dude, Richard, I forgot his last name, but he's the guy who played Joe Chill off of Batman Begins.
A guy pretty much is underused in Hollywood, which kind of shocks me because there's a lot of people I see in low budgety shit that should be used more often. This is one guy that creeps me the fuck out. This guy, he's been in Hannibal Rising. He's been in Batman Begins.
He was also in Halloween 2.
Halloween 2. He was one of the paramedic guys. Loved his comedic role in that film.
Yeah.
His part. But anyways, this guy starts off where he's basically, you think that he's talking to the audience.
Yeah, because basically there's like this cool opening. It's kind of by me of Skyfall where he's walking to pretty much the camera and he's like
looking at you dead in the eye. I'm
basically,
like, wow, is he talking to us?
It basically, from that scene, what it reminded me of, it basically reminded me of Suicide Squad, how the Joker is kind of like up front and doing the whole thing like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
And the guy's got a clown like performance. I'm like, damn, this is pretty creepy.
Yeah. Well, what we'll find out is that there's actually a victim there that he's actually torturing. Yeah. And man, his monologue alone is fucking vicious.
His monologue, like I said, his script is.
He starts like smoking a cigar and shit right before
his monologue is pretty. He's pretty fucking brutal, dude. Yeah. I don't think that guy's performance that I've seen in numerous films. This is probably his best performance.
His character's name is Doomhead.
Doomhead, yeah.
So we get to see pretty much what sets up with the rest of the tone of the movie. Yeah. Now, then we get into our characters, which are a group of carnies that are on their way. I don't know exactly where they are, but they're in the South. But they're going to, I guess they're trying to go to to set up a carnival somewhere. And they're on their way. And for like that first 10 minutes, the comedy really got me going for it.
The comedy was really good in this film. And another thing is why I praise Rob Zombie that a lot of people don't do is I praise Rob Zombie, and I hope he keeps doing this with his films too, like later on. He gets authentic people.
Yeah.
He doesn't go after that, your standard heartthrob, everybody's got to be Barbie doll, pretty, that we do that on fucking horror films. He gets authentic people.
He gets
and they look real, like people I see every day.
Everyday people, yeah. And so they're on their way, and you get to see Sherry Moon Zombie, who's obviously cast in all of his films. But this time she's playing like a kind of a snarky kind of girl who likes to smoke weed and all that shit. In a way, she's kind of like the good version of Baby from Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, but the cool thing is about her is a good thing about Rob Zombie is capturing the 70s feel again.
Yeah, because the movie takes place in 1976, and you get this cool opening where it plays like kind of like the opening of Devil's Rejects.
It's like a Devil's Rejects mixed with Texas Chainsaw. You can get that Texas feel, that southern Texas feel, like a deserty feel.
Yeah,
I
so
get like that. Yeah,
and so as it goes along, you're starting to get this banter back and forth with the people in the van and how they're pretty much insulting each other throughout it.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people don't like a lot of Rob Zombie's dialogue, but this comedy this black comedy that he does, at least for this film and his other films, it does work for me.
I like it.
I really do like it.
Yeah, I like the brutality because I'm sorry, but people who bash it just want to see standard fake life bullshit. But this feels kind of real life to me, where we banter back and forth like that.
Yeah, and I know this is a thing that we will bring up later, but one thing I will admit though that Rob Zombie does like to do in a lot of his films. He does like to repeat a lot of the like a lot of the same dialogue, like saying "fuck" repeatedly.
My only problem with him is, I mean, I love his wife and all, but she doesn't need to be in every film he does.
Right, and she's not a bad actress.
She's not a bad actress. I like her, and she's pretty. She's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's just
she's overused.
She's overused in every fucking film. That's what killed Halloween 2, in my opinion, was seeing the ghost version of her, which was unnecessary. Yeah. But anyways, back to this film. So we get to them traveling along. They come to this dirt road, pretty much.
Then basically it's nighttime. It's blocked off at night because the movie takes place in Halloween, which is kind of funny. You could have just called this Halloween 3. Yeah. But anyway, it's Halloween night, and then they get captured by these weird dudes that are pretty much dressed up like jail-like
outfits. Yeah, like you remember like the Batmans, the first Batman.
Yeah, I remember.
They're in the black and white, the mimes. They're in
I remember those guys.
Like, they're pretty much capturing mimes.
Yeah, and they kill a few of the people involved, and so they take about 4 or 5 of them, about 5 of them to them, and then they're introduced to Malcolm McDowell, who's playing like a very aristocrat, kind of like a 70s version of Hunger Games.
Yeah, he's basically wearing what the girl was wearing in Hunger Games, and basically they created this satanic world, like this satanic place in this boiler world where it's like a factory that they took over, an old abandoned factory. Basically, they turned it into like, they worship like Satanish bullshit, but yet they want to play like kind of a Hunger Game feel where these people have to survive getting attacked by all these mutant people they've
all these crazy fuckers that come around.
Yeah, they're not mutant, but they're crazy, and they're just really weird.
It's really, I mean, when you break down, it is a very simple plot. They have to survive in this very underground factory, and you don't really get much to know these characters are about, because it's really just a straightforward survival
horror film, which, you know, this isn't a spoiler-free. You know, this is spoiler-free because there's going to be a lot of people that's never seen this movie, so we don't want to spoil it. But this film is probably one of Rob Zombie's most goriest and gruesome, brutalest fucking films.
Yeah, because you're seeing a lot of shit that he's probably done in his other films, but this one, they pushed the boundaries so much. I'm actually surprised it got an R rating.
MPA. I praise them for what they allow, because MPA I think is too strict on films, but they let a lot of stuff slide.
You do get to see like a lot of...
This movie is so fucking brutal. You do. And you know what? I love my horror films.
I do too. But also, you get to see a lot of like really tame shit, like cannibalism, chainsaw cuts.
Making references of like fucking girls, pregnant girls in their mouths and coming and making their babies suck their dicks.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
there's a lot of
vulgarity.
Yeah, it is brutal.
But also, what I really love about what I like about the film too is the look they have with this underground place. Because in a way, it kind of reminds me like if you cross Saw with like Texas Chainsaw 2, with like kind of like the kind of gritty look they have with it.
And throw clowns in the mix,
yeah, pretty much.
But like everybody's performances were amazing. The gore. Oh my god, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Now, there were probably a couple of characters that did annoy me that we won't go into, but there were a few of them I was like, man, do we really have to spend on time with these people?
That is true. The performances overall, but there's those side characters that are in this, mainly the killer parts. This is where the movie kind of really started boring me for a while. We focus on one character. I'm not going to go into detail. You'll see it when you see it, but this little guy just pretty much... You feel like he's taking over the film when he should have never been taking over the film.
I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah,
And play,
in the
they,
movie,
they play a lot of comedy with this character, and it just did not work it for me at all.
Yeah.
I found myself annoyed, like, please do something else.
Yeah, I was getting bored with this guy for a while, and sadly, he becomes like pretty much half of the fucking killer scenes, and he's just pretty much popping over the place, which I don't get because this is realistic, where these guys are not really mutants or dead; they're humans, and this killer midget dude is just—he's able to go from one place to another place. I'm like, what? How the fuck you keep popping up everywhere?
That,
dude?
and also there were a couple of the like carnies. One of them at least kind of annoyed me, like the Jamaican dude. Like I thought that there were some of his shit that he kept saying, like just kind of annoyed the piss out of me.
Yeah.
But the other ones did pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you also get some. So it was really also cool seeing Malcolm McDowell again this time. And this time he's actually playing a villain. So it was.
He pretty much runs the place, and he's basically running a Satanist type type thing.
And I actually, and
he's paying these people.
And I did enjoy the performances of Sherry Moon and the bearded guy. I forgot his name, but they did fine. What I also like too is the score is pretty badass. Like it's got kind of a rock kind of soundtrack to it.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
It makes it look like some classic rock tunes.
He does a lot of classic rock, but
no, I'm talking about some of the score, like the part where they're getting ready to fight, and you have it kind of sounds like a Rob Zombie kind of score to it.
Yeah, so the fight scenes are great. The brutality, the chainsaws, everything's great. Performances like
for the most part, are good.
Unleveled, average.
Now we get to some of our cons. Now, I tell you right now, the writing, even though how simple it is, I was expecting more with some of these characters because they are very paper thin.
Yeah,
you're not really. They're really just there for setting the plot up, and you're not really getting much variety of much with the character because there's probably like one.
And now with that, they're dying like quick.
Yeah,
like
so
fast.
it's not really. They don't. Some of them don't really get much of an emotional impact because there's really not much weight to them.
Yeah,
and also another thing too is for the first part of it, I was at least when they get to the actual setup when they're actually in there underground, it did take kind of a while for it to pick up. I was like, the direction was very getting borderline slow.
Well, here's my also problem he didn't mention. I wish they had more variety of death scenes. They seem to be killing people with the same thing.
Yeah.
They do cool chainsaw twist thing, but other than that, man, there's a lot of knife stabbing scenes, which is cool, but man, they don't have variety in this film, which I would have loved to see.
I would have loved to see it too. I wish they could have been more original as far as that, because it's really just the same shit we've seen before.
Like, it was stab beyond stab, beyond stab, beyond stab, beyond stab. I was like, can we see something different?
But
maybe
then,
like
when we get to, that's what I was going to say, when we get to the later stuff that comes on with the other killers, that's when it started to get me more because it actually made it to where, okay, now we're seeing some really fucked up shit here.
Yeah, we get this German guy and then this girl that's kind
of looks like Harley Quinn.
She talks like him.
It's basically Rob Zombie's version of Suicide Squad because you get the other guy that we mentioned earlier, and his performance was really fucking vicious, especially all the dark humor that he makes in where he's like fucking with his victims. It's like, I'm just not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna fuck with you first.
Yeah, and he's pretty brutal, man. Man, this is like one of Rob Zombie's most brutal, gruesomest movies.
Yeah, now there are a couple parts that I thought they could have done more with as far as brutality because they did kind of cut away in some parts.
Yeah.
Thankfully, MPA. Because fucking MPA.
And like, and they didn't, I didn't think they didn't, my problem is that also they didn't go into much detail with a lot of their kills. There was a lot of they did some, but they did a lot of just stabbing beyond stabbing.
Yeah.
It just got bored after a while. I was like, man, this is the same death scenes. Like, you're just stabbing people. I mean, that gets bored after a while.
I could agree.
They could have done more. They could have done
more creative kills and more originality as far as what they were doing with the story.
Yeah.
But for what it is, this was a step up for Rob Zombie, and I can say it's one of his better movies that he's done in a while.
Yeah.
So I am going to give this movie a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, the movie does have its flaws, I'm not going to lie, but it is an enjoyable experience, and it is a fresh
with his questionnaire, and then he did the rock
music
videos, which was awesome. You know, he's bringing more of his style back, mixed with the film. I enjoyed like I said, I liked the main killer. He was good.
Yeah. I've enjoyed some of the. I even enjoyed the two clown dudes. Who
Yeah,
were
the two
pretty cool.
clown dudes were fucking
That
hilarious.
dude, that one of them reminded me so much of Chop Top from Part 2
Which
of
was
Texas
cool.
Chainsaw.
Yeah. Which
You
that would
know?
be cool if we would have seen them more. I would have thought they were actually more, should have been maybe ahead of that German guy. Maybe the German guy and the Harley Quinn wannabe should have been like, before them.
Yeah.
Because I think they were the most coolest and brutalest.
Besides
and then you could let
besides
him-
Doomhead.
Yeah, Doomhead himself.
Yeah.
But Rob Zombie, he could do a lot better if he would just maybe do more written, because like in Halloween, his written story of what he drew out was one of his best written parts,
Well-
because he could be a good storyteller. It's just he likes to do generic-y stuff. He
Well,
doesn't
that's
like
what I'm
to
saying.
Together. Yeah.
As far as written, like Devil's Rejects, if he could make it to where it is still simple, but still make us actually want to, where we still get to know more of these characters more, it would probably have more of an impact.
Yeah.
But for what he did with, I do commend him for at least doing something. Doing something, going back to his style again, and
Hell yeah.
pushing the brutality. as
Brutality,
well.
and I love
and mixing his
brutality.
dark humor.
The more brutality and how vulgar it is why I like it. I love shit like that. That's why I like my horror films. But anyways, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Now, I know some of you probably didn't get a chance to watch the film in theaters, and that's cool. But for those of you that have seen the movie, or if you check it out on DVD, comment below and let us know what you guys thought about it. And let us also know what other Rob Zombie movies you've seen. And if you guys like what you see here, you can check us out on YouTube. And we'll be having more reviews coming up here soon. We're having some technical issues right now, but once we get that fixed, we'll be being more consistent in everything. So we thank you everyone so much for watching, and we hope you get a chance to check out 31. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.